Tonight, for the first time, we're going to honour them. We've got 3 inductees this year, which is really cool, and that will be something that continues into the years to come. The Hall of Fame isn't just about results and trophies, it's about impact, and it's about the individuals who shape the culture, elevate the standards, they inspire others to push further and do more things in the community. It's about the people that build, they're the pioneers, the leaders, drivers. They're people that turn sim racing here into something real and something respected. So let's begin with the man that needs no introduction to anyone who's familiar with the Australian sim racing scene. Congratulations to Madison Down.
I feel like for a very long time, he's provided a benchmark for a lot of us.
He was probably one of the most respectful drivers I've ever driven against. Very, very fast, and one of the best people to race against, that's for sure.
His presence in sim racing is one of the big things as well. So, like, you race on track with Madison Down and you see that 77 on track. There's an aura around it that no one else on track really has.
My first impressions were like, God, this guy's friendly, but he's just relentlessly fast. Like every single track we go to, he's up the front. You know, if he's not winning, he's finishing second.
I saw Madison a couple of times. It was like this, big name that, I knew no one else in the scene, but Madison Down, you'd see him in the relative and you're like, oh, it's Madison. Wow, look at that. And he's bloody 3 seconds faster than I am.
Yeah, that was probably when I learned to understand who Mads was and sort of saw the Tats cars. That was sort of the era I grew up sim racing in.
I've gone back and watched all the history of sim racing and, back in the days of the Lotto.com car that he had, the old Blue Falcon, and then obviously the Karting Sydney VF he used to race as well. So
I'm sure you'd put Madison Down in Google and it comes up with his Tats Lotto car from early in the day, and articles written about them back then as well. So there'll be a legacy left on the internet and within all the competitors that have raced against him over time.
Things he has done in sim racing have been huge, and he's created an icon and a legacy around himself.
For me, his legacy is that no matter what the series, no matter the car, although it's been the Supercar a lot of the time, he's always won, and he's always been a championship contender, and he's very often a championship winner.
It's been massive. It can't be understated. I think one of the big things with Madison is the fact that he's always been a front-running contender in all series that he does, but he's done it for decades.
He's just always been there from 2011 when I sort of got involved, and even before that in R Factor and that sort of thing. Every single race, he's a factor.
The biggest reason why I think Madison is a worthy inductee into the Hall of Fame is his dedication to the sport for so long.
I'm sitting here in 2025 and I've known Mads more than half my life. And that entire half of my life that I'm thinking of, he's been up front, which I think is pretty impressive.
Probably for the way he conducts himself in the sim racing scene, he's been there for probably the longest that I've ever known a single person.
Outside of his results, I think just the way he's conducted himself. He's such a friendly guy. He's so willing to help. He's so fair.
He loves the sport. He's always been putting in the work. And for that reason, and his success over the years, the titles he's won, it's a no-brainer to include Madison.
I can't think of anyone in our community more deserving. So really happy for him.
Wow, this is just such an incredible honour to be included in the Hall of Fame for ASRG and sim racing in general. 15 years ago, I got into sim racing simply through a love for car racing and just competition in general. And honestly, I couldn't have imagined where sim racing would go across that 15-year period that I've been involved, and to have obviously a lot of success, some championship wins, but also to build so many friendships with teammates, but also competitors as well. To meet so many amazing people and have those memories that I'll never forget has truly been amazing. The community's given me so much, and I've tried to give back a little bit where I can as well with some coaching and VRS platform work that I've done. But overall, I just love seeing people enjoy sim racing and getting the most out of their driving, and obviously that's something that I really love myself. So I love seeing others get that as well. It's opened doors that I never could have dreamt of as well. I've had the opportunity to drive so many awesome race cars. Thanks to so many people for making that happen, and thank you to all of the sponsors that have helped open those doors. I've truly enjoyed it and continue to enjoy the real world connection that sim racing has. To my sponsors and my family, my teammates, everyone that supported me through the last 15 years. There's been countless long nights and a lot of hard work that's gone into it. So sim racing's been a massive part of my life. So thank you to everyone for the recognition. It truly means a lot, and I'll continue to see you all on track. Thank you all.
Hi guys, Lockie Dalton here from Tickford Racing. We're in our Wildcard Gen 3 car. Something really cool, what we've got here is our MPI sim wheel. So configured with our Logitech button box. As you can see, it is identical to our Gen 3 wheel. Really cool for the sim world and the supercar world as well. Can't wait to get home and use this. As you can see, you can nearly configure this exactly the same as we would have our supercars. So exact same material, something I'm really keen for.
Welcome back, everybody, and we're now going to turn our attention to the GT3s for this part of the show. We've got some special guests in here. We're joined by Damon Woods, Byron Pearce, and Jacob O'Reilly. Scott, I'm looking forward to talking to these guys. It's going to be good fun. It's been an awesome year for GT3s. It's been a cool thing for us to come and do GT3 racing this year, and I've enjoyed it. I'm sure these guys have too. They're all doing a great job in the series so far. We've got lots of stuff to talk about, but I think maybe we'll just start with the first question and go from there. I might go to you first, Damon. Just wanted to get your thoughts about the competition level in the series this year. For the inaugural season of the GT3s, how have you seen it? How have you felt like it's been this year?
I mean, from the Australian side of things, I think it's pretty competitive. I mean, you look at OSR 12 hour, it's more or less the same guys that are rocking up and doing this as well. So that's really good. Obviously, I'd still love to see some more competitive teams up the front. So I think we're looking at maybe six or so teams that are genuinely front runners, and then it kind of dies off a little bit. But I mean, we don't have the depth in GT competition here, so in reality, it's really not too bad. But yeah, compared to the supercars, we're looking at the top 15, top 20, where it's quite stacked. It's lacking a little bit, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. I can't complain. It's been a good season for us, and it's been a good opportunity to go, I guess, our skill in GT3 cars on a bigger platform.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, for Byron and Jake, I mean, we'll start with you, Byron, as well. Like, I think Damon's probably covered a lot of it off there, but I think the biggest thing is that we've been really lacking some of that top-level GT3 action in the country, and I think it's given a really good pathway to that.
Yeah, well, just to, I guess, re-go what Damon said, it's like, it is really the same guys at the front, and it's super competitive. Like even the Eclipse guys and like a now nerfed car really giving everyone a go. Yeah, like I haven't raced too much against most Australians, so most of the people I don't really know too well. I have never really raced a supercar that much, so a lot of it's all, I guess, new to me. But it's definitely been a good experience at GT Pro for me personally so far, and I've enjoyed the race. I've enjoyed the racing. Whether it's been a good or a bad day so far this season. But yeah, still, I guess it's early days, so looking forward to the future.
And then, Jake, I think for you guys are probably a little bit further ahead in the championship than necessarily you would have expected. But, at the same time, there's been front results, there's been backwards results. You've walked forward, you've walked backwards at different points. And you guys are now in a three-way fight for that second spot in the championship as well, which has, I think, been an interesting thing for the year.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking back at this year, I think, Josh and I definitely exceeded any expectations we had at the start of the year. We came in sort of said if we can pick up a couple of top 10s, we'll be really, really happy. And it's just sort of, bloomed to a really, really good year. Josh has driven out of his skin, and I feel like we've had a lot of races where, he's sort of taken the lead and been really, really quick, and races where the other is true, which is always satisfying.
Well, I think it'd be cool actually just to sort of circle back around to something that you mentioned, Byron, which was the nerfing of the cars mid-season. It was really interesting for us this year to have a massive overhaul of the GT cars halfway through the championship, and obviously the pick and stick sort of rule that we've got applied with two different drivers. I might go to you first again, Damon, about it, because what are your opinions of that? Like, first of all, just the way that the series has been set with that pick and stick rule to start with. You can pick two cars for the season and you're locked to that. But then, from your perspective, the change midway through the year with what's happened with the overhaul of the cars and how that's affected perhaps you guys in particular, but just overall, your thoughts about that on the series?
I mean, I like the pick and stick rule. It forces teams to really think about what car they want to run for a season. So even with IMSA Esports, which I'm doing as well at the moment, we were in a similar situation with what car we wanted to select to do the car shootout for. And yeah, we're locked into that car for the season, which happens to be the Ford Mustang. But I think it's good. Again, it adds a little bit more technicality to it as well. And obviously, yeah, with the overhaul of the cars as well during the year, I mean, it did shake some things up, especially at the bend with the McLaren BOP being pretty average, and the Mustang being very good. But in the end, I mean, you look at real life GT3 racing as well. Bop ebbs and flows, and you can't really do too much about it. If you get a set bop, then you got to run with it. And we see plenty of times we go, Spa 24. Some teams might be really good in quality, and then they get slammed with, extra restrictor and some more weight, and yeah, they're nowhere in the race. So in the end, it's GT3 racing. It is what makes it good, and it did push us as a team to be, on our A game to try and hold, back the Fords at the bend. So I think going to Bathurst is going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, we've got the Acura in our arsenal as well, which is proven to be quite strong at Bathurst. So hopefully we can tune up a pretty good set for it. But yeah, I think overall it did throw a spanner in the works, but in the end, I think it's created an extra element of drama, which is always good for the series as well. So in the end, I don't think it's too bad.
And I'll go to you, I think, Jake, at the moment, because this is sort of a twofold question. There's really, really two parts here to this. Number one is exactly what we've already asked Damon. Do you like a pick and stick style system? And something we've covered a fair bit on the broadcast as well is it's not a one pick and stick style system. So it does give a little bit of that tactical flexibility.
Yeah, and I think that was a really, really good decision too. I think if you're going to do a one car pick and stick, you probably, I think, need to supplement it with something like a consistent bop race to race. I know series like IVRA, which is another one that we're in at the moment, does that. And it means you get really good variability on the grid too in terms of seeing all cars. I mean, if we look back to the OSR 12 hour this year, we had Acuras all up and down the grid. So I think that having the pick and stick is good. And I think having two cars sort of allowed that. And then I suppose moving forward, we probably won't have that spanner thrown in the works like we did this year when we had the full-on build change. But yeah, I mean, look, it's been fun. It's been added in some extra challenges, and that's all part of it.
And as well for you, Byron, I mean, would you prefer a system where you are stuck into that one car? Is it perhaps three cars is better than two cars? Like, again, we've obviously got to throw this element of the massive overhaul, and it has to be stated, massive overhaul in the middle of the season. You take that away, I guarantee you half the field would be a lot happier with the two car system than they are at the moment.
I think three cars would be a bit excessive for the 6-round series, but I mean, if it was a one-pick series, I wouldn't be too fussed with it because I'd probably just choose the Ford anyway. I think the two-car system's good all round. If you're not going to have like a bop round to round, that throws some variety out there. But I'm kind of indifferent to whether it's 1, 2.
Well, I think
really don't. Go ahead.
I think you'd be happy, like you said, with the Mustang. And I was really impressed from the start of the year because you guys, like us, I think you and maybe our car and only one or two others were in the Mustang early in the season prior to the update, where obviously now a lot more people have been using it. But that's one of the things that I was really impressed about at the start of the year was how good you guys were in the Mustang in those first couple of rounds when it was considered to be not as strong of a car. So You're a little bit like us in my car, where we've sort of lucked into a favourable bop since the big change with the cars. But I'm curious, and again, I'll circle back around to you, Damon, because I want to talk a little bit about Bathurst. So first question I want to ask is, what do you think of having Bathurst as a season finale, track to end the season with? And then, I want to talk a little bit more about like qualifying in the race and stuff as well. But firstly, what do you think about ending the series at Bathurst?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really care where we end the series. Obviously, Bathurst is a bit more respectable for the Australian community. I wouldn't mind seeing it as an opening round, similar to how OSR 12 hour kind of sets off the season for GD3 stuff, at least from the Australian side of things. So. Yeah, really, I'm not too fussed on where it is placed on the calendar, but I mean, like I said, it does offer a bit of a spectacle. The championship decider is at Australia's most premier track, more or less. So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I personally like Bathurst. I've done plenty of laps around there. We're on good form as well. I think we're on for I think we've won 2 in a row OSR 12 hours, going for a 3-peat next year. So. Yeah, we're in good form there. We love the car that as well with the Acura, which is most likely what we're going to end up in. So like I said, if we can tune up a good set for it, we're going to be on the money.
Byron, obviously, you were mentioning about the 12-hour as well earlier on in the year, and the potency. Having not access to the Acura. We're obviously talking quite heavily about access to turbochargers when we head to Bathurst, and what's available in your pool and confidence levels with that.
Bathurst for 12 hour, did you say, or this weekend?
Yeah, both. I mean, both. Talk to me about both, because historically, obviously, and confidence heading into Bathurst, but then to use it as a season finale, and then the big discussion is anytime we go to Bathurst, particularly in the GT3 categories, having access to that turbocharger on the car, just for additional power on the straight lines, just been so critical, I think, over the last couple of years.
I've never really thought too much about it. I've always just gone, here's the Ford, I'm going to try and make it work. I got P3 in the pre-qual for 12 hour this year. I was happy with that. And this weekend, it's like, so what, we don't have a turbo, we'll just try and make it work. I doubt we'll beat Damo on that, but we'll give it a good crack.
In terms of the crown jewel status as well, I think is really, really important. 2025 has been such a strong year for you guys. Would you prefer, like Damon's already said, I don't really care where this race is, I just want to sign the season off on a big note. Does Bathurst hold that extra little bit of meaning to you to finish this GT3 season?
I do think Bathurst probably would be better as an opener, but then I wouldn't know what a good track a finale would be. It's a kind of a tough one. I don't mind it being the finale, but I feel like the OSR 12 hour being the opening to this series, that would be, if that were to be possible, would be absolutely mega. But as for a finale, I'm not sure what you could replace this with that would be suitable at the moment. Maybe Adelaide when it eventually arrives.
I think everyone's pretty keen for Adelaide. Yeah, Adelaide's absolutely up there. Everyone's excited for Adelaide, I know that for sure. I mean, Jake, over to you as well. Obviously, with the context of how things have gone this year, confidence level, happiness, you keen to be getting into Bathurst, also being in 2 cars as well, and it being such a crown jewel event in not just the GT3, but the V8 as well.
Yeah, I love Bathurst. In terms of OSR, I think I've been cursed the last couple of years. Did it last year in the MP4. I think we were the only one on the grid. It was great in pre-qual, not so good to race in. And then last year, I think I pre-qualed pretty high. And then, shootouts haven't necessarily been my strength, and proved that again. But yeah, I just love racing around there. It takes, you get into a rhythm, and there's nothing quite like it. So I'm not quite sure what car we're going to go with yet, whether it's going to be the McLaren or the Acura. I'm thinking the Acura. We had a massive setup for OSR, but obviously with the big change, it's all sort of shifted. But I think probably the Acura is the way to go for us. But yeah, we'll do some testing and get Josh to put his big brain to it, and I think we can be pretty competitive.
I'm interested to see what all the cars look like when we roll out at Bathurst. I think there'll be a few teams in different cars to what we've seen so far throughout the season, although sounds like it's pretty safe to say that the Already car and my car will probably both be still in Mustangs. But let's pivot a little bit here because we do want to get close to wrapping up this end of the segment. So a bit of a change of pace, and something I want to talk to you, Damon, about. Go to you first here with this as well. But overall, do you think that the inaugural season so far for the GTPRO Series has been a success? And then what would you perhaps change next year if it was to go ahead next year? Curious to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I've got plenty of stuff that I'd like to see from the Australian side of things in terms of GT3 racing. But to kick off, I think as an inaugural season, with kind of how it all came about, I think it's been, I would call it a fairly successful year. The competition's been pretty good. I think it's been a good enough show as well for the spectators that you can warrant chucking on another season as well. So I think from that standpoint, it's pretty good. But I mean, in looking to 2026 and onwards, I mean, I personally would really, really like to see a sprint racing format. Obviously, following very, very similar to what real life racing or real life GT3 racing is with GT World Challenge and any major GT3 championship that gets run around the world is predominantly a 2 60-minute race, 2 driver format. I think that would be really cool just to see that real life alignment. And I know that format has worked previously internationally with another championship that ran, I think maybe 3 years ago in Europe. And yeah, everyone that I've spoken to that was able to participate in that series said that was the best format that's ever been produced for GT3 racing in esports. And I think if we could see something similar or something close to that here, I think that would be really cool. And I definitely would like to be a part of that. I think if all that can happen, I think we'll be on for a really, really good championship next year.
Bit of an alternative take and some different points and bits and pieces. I mean, Byron, you obviously want more GT3 racing in Australia? What does that look like? And more importantly, you think this year has been a success? What do you change for next year?
Well, I've never really league raced on iRacing too much beforehand, so this is really my first experience in it. I think it's been a good season so far. I'm actually the other end. I'm not a fan of sprint racing. I honestly prefer the 3 hours, and I can even do like 6-hour races, but probably wouldn't be that entertaining for the audience to go that long. But but I think it's been a good opening season.
And then, Jake, I'm just going to, ditto to you, mate. Are you happy with the way the season's been run? What does 2026 look like? What do you think? Do you think the series has actually been a success to the community? I think that's a big piece as well, because it's not just going to be successful for us and the people that are in and around this, but the wider community. You think, there's an opportunity for lower level teams to come through in a multi-driver format, because effectively, you got, if you got 30 cars, well, that's 60 drivers. You go up to 40 cars, that's 80 drivers, rather than just seeing 40 drivers,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think you can see there's a lot of drivers who have improved with the league as well. Like I think Dean McKay qualified really, really high in the last race as well. And I think that's in part at least due to the competitiveness of the league as well. I think to an extent though, we need to maybe consider what do we want. And I definitely agree with Damon that I think there's definitely like a hunger for some short races where people can just throw everything at them. But at the same time, I think there's an equal thirst for proper endurance racing where we might go up to 4, 5 or 6 hours as well. So maybe, taking some time to consider what do we really want out of a series. I think I like the 3-hour format, but I think that maybe there's a bigger thirst for in either direction.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting feedback. I like talking to you guys and hearing from the drivers and getting everyone's thoughts about everything. And obviously, I have my own unique perspective on this in the panel here because I'm involved with the series on the admin side, but it's been a massive undertaking to go into GTs, but there is a gap in the market there for it, and I think we've established that this year. And I've probably been surprised a little bit by just the quality of the field, to be honest, in an inaugural season. I compare it to Supercars that we started with the V8 Pro Series a few years ago, and straight off the bat, with years of V8 supercar racing and leagues in Australia, it still took us 2 or 3 years to really get to the point where we had a field that was really deep and strong. And I'd say the inaugural GT series has surprised me for just how deep the field is in quality straight off the bat. So considering it's not a discipline that's particularly popular or common run in Australian league space, I think it says a lot about the driver community that we've got, about how good our drivers are here in this part of the world, to straight away where there's a platform and there's a really good competition level off the bat. But we'll do one more thing here, guys, before we end the segment. We're going to have a little bit of fun.
One moment. I was going to say, Brett, this is a great opportunity. Just the fans along at home watching on your Thursday night, what do you think of GT? What are your thoughts? Let us know out in the comments, and not just Facebook, YouTube, the whole place, because it's really, really important. The series, we run off, obviously, engagement not only with our drivers, and that's the whole reason that they're here, but it's for the fans that are watching along at home. You guys are watching the streams, you're watching the broadcast, you're listening to me talk on a weekly basis, you're listening to Hobbo wobble around in Mustangs at Spa. We won't bring that up any further than we have to. But it is really, really important what you guys want to see in the future, because it does drive the directions that the series are going and some of the decisions that get made behind the scenes. So every opportunity is a great opportunity to raise that voice. And I guarantee there'll be a feedback form at some point to gather what the community wants to get. But Brent's got something really, really cool here, and it's an opportunity to peel back some of the layers. And you guys don't wear helmets, but virtual helmets off some of the drivers. No, that's right. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And we're going to wrap up the segment with a really fast, quick fire section here. And I'm going to go through you one at a time. We'll start with you, Damon, and then work our way through. But I'm just going to go this or that. Short, rapid fire. You're only going to have to do 4 each, let's say. And I'm going to give you a this or that, and you give me the first answer you've got on what one you prefer out of the two. So are you ready, Damon?
Yeah, mate. Crack on.
All right, here we go. This or that. Ferrari or Porsche?
Porsche.
Bathurst or Spa?
Spa.
Aggressive driving or calculated driving?
Calculated.
And wet race or dry race?
Dry.
Spoken like anyone who's done a lap in the wet. That's great.
Yeah, I've had some bad experiences in the wet. I shunted the car from the lead of the top split Spa 24. So yeah, there's a little bit of a backstory to that answer, but yeah, no.
That's so good. All right, Byron, we'll move on to you, and we'll do the same thing again. So let's go Mercedes or BMW?
Merc.
Would you rather be the fan favourite or the underdog?
Underdog.
Would you rather run triple monitors or VR?
Triple.
And would you rather have great speed or great consistency?
Great speed.
Yeah, everyone loves to go fast. That's good.
Can I have both? Can I get both?
Yeah.
Was there a secret third option there?
No, there wasn't an option C, but that would have been good. The obvious answer, clearly. All right, Jacob, you're next. Let's go. Front engine or mid-engine car?
Front engine.
Le Mans or Daytona?
Le Mans.
Night or day race?
Night.
Yeah, interesting. And would you rather fuel save or go full speed and pit?
Fuel save.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Couple of surprise answers there. That's cool. All right. Thanks very much. Yeah,
any of you guys want to take the mickey? There's a really good opportunity here to take the mickey out of someone before race day. So who wants to win the psychological game?
I'd rather not get punted.
Okay. So dive bomb at cutting or the elbow?
At the cutting.
I've been dive bombed by Kostecki in Porsche Cup at turn 2. Not a fan.
Thank you very much, guys. I love it when Scott goes off script. That's excellent. That was good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Damon. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, Jacob, for coming in and having a chat to us, guys. Race tomorrow night to decide the championship. Will the Eclipse 56 get the job done? Only one race left to find out, so make sure you tune in tomorrow to check it all out. That's it for this segment. Let's go ahead and enter another person into the ASRG Hall of Fame.
I don't think it can be measured what Jay's impact on sim racing is, but it is safe to say that sim racing in a competitive and global aspect in terms of the Australian landscape would not be where it is without Jay.
Sim racing in this country would not be what it is without it. If you have a look at the series that have come and gone, what's the one constant? It's the broadcast.
Jay was a visionary right at the very start. 10 plus years ago, he was able to probably foresee what was to come.
He brought racing to the TV, is for me personally.
He has broadcast so many events, so many races.
From where Jay started, he's kept up to date with the technology available. He hasn't just slackened off. He's kept up and he's evolved with sim racing. When sim racing's evolved, Jay has stayed either with it or at times a step ahead.
His raw level of intelligence in terms of the way that he goes about building things for the broadcasts.
Dedicated, passionate, resilient.
Pioneer, inventive, and loyal.
Perfectionist. He's definitely perfectionist with, from the ASRG side, we see what he does behind the scenes and how he's always trying to evolve what he does, and his enthusiasm behind the scenes to make everything that he does perfect.
I think really his impact is that how giving of his own personal time he is.
I think what he has done has taken sim racing from a hobby for a lot of people and turned it into something that some people now have jobs from.
So Jay's impact to sim racing isn't just here in Australia, but actually it's now global. And he has been recognised for that, and he should be recognised for that.
His legacy will be the ongoing commitment to the community.
I think Jay's a worthy inductee into the Hall of Fame because he has put in so much hard work behind the scenes over the years that some people will never see.
There is no one else that has given the raw man hours that Jay has, and no one else will ever come close.
He is a worthy inductee because of that, and his underlying passion has lifted the whole sport up.
The guy never wants to take credit for anything, which is just, you don't see that anywhere. There's no ego behind it at all.
It's not just, he's done one or two little things. He's lifted the entire sport up, and like I mentioned before, he's put it on a platform that wouldn't have been without him.
He can read the race, he understands what's happening, he understands the ins and outs of sim racing, and he'll go down as one of the greats.
He deserves this. I realistically cannot think of any other individual that is more deserving. We've had drivers come and go, and in that same period, we've had one man there to capture it all.
Hey guys, just want to say a big thank you, and I'm humbly honoured to be included in the first ever Australian Sim Racing Group Hall of Fame. It's very, very cool. I've never ever done this for achievements or anything like that, but it's pretty cool to be honoured. In the background you can see I'm actually working on the iRacing College Series broadcast right now, so I'm double duty for that, but yeah, pretty cool to have that, and big thank you to iRacing for being part of the journey that I started 14 years ago this month, which is incredible when you think about how long it's been. For those who've been here since the start know that, my son Harrison is younger than this whole journey, and he is a teenager. It's crazy, but very, very cool. Big thank you to everyone who's been a part of this. Big special thanks to the Australian Sim Racing Group. Thanks to Logitech G. Thanks to all the partners and people who have been involved in the background, and a special thank you to Kirsty, Harrison, Shelby for being there in the background and being such an amazing part of the journey as well. Big thank you again to iRacing for also supporting me throughout the journey as well. So appreciate the support and everything that they've done to help as well. Cheers.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the next segment of the show. We've got some guys from the Logitech GV8 Series in here with us to go through some bits and pieces. We've got some questions and we're going to have a bit of a chat about some stuff. We're joined by Zach Rattray White, Griffin Gardner, and Josh Anderson. It's going to be a cool section here, Scott. I'm looking forward to talking to these guys. Before we jump into some of the questions, though, I do want to quickly go to you, Josh. Congratulations, obviously, for having a great race on the weekend at Sandown, just gone. Nice win in the Toyota 86. It was awesome to watch. And I know all of us here, I'm sure, real thrilled to see you get out there in real life and have a good steer, have a good results. That was awesome for everybody to tune in and watch on the weekend. To bring it back around and make it somewhat relevant, I did want to ask, because the conditions to me were, well, they were diabolical, and I'm sure you'd agree, but I wanted to know whether or not your time in the preparation for the Sandown race actually helped you at all for racing in the wet in the 86, because for all the practice leading into Sandown, we spent most of our time practicing in the wet in our team. I think you guys probably would have as well. So tell me, did it actually help? Did the time of the sim racing around in the wet at Sandown actually help you when you had to go there in the 86 and drive around in the rain?
100%. Like, even with my background, like, I didn't really race go-karts much. I haven't raced in the rain that much. And I used to be pretty bad at racing in the rain until our racing got rain, to be honest. And I just drove the same lines that I drove in the sim, and it was pretty good. So, we, like you said, I think every team for the Logitech series put in, and Scops too, was putting in majority of the wet laps. And yeah, the way our racing models rain is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Scott, we've got some questions lined up for these guys. I think I'll let you take it away from here. Fire away, and let's get stuck into it.
Ando, obviously we've had a lot of opportunities to chat to you throughout the season as well. I think you're your own biggest critic because you're sitting second in the championship. But every time I've spoken to you, you've been disappointed with yourself. What's at this point in time? We've got 2 races left. One of them is the Bathurst 1000. Where do you rate yourself for 2025?
Yeah, I always look at it like I'd almost rather come 5th, but be, half a 10th off pole and have a massive battle for first, than to come 3rd, but you got no chance pace wise of catching the leader. That's kind of how I look at it. Like, because for me, pace is king. So, Phil Sell's been the benchmark in pace. We've been off him 2, 3, sometimes more, unfortunately, 10ths, and that's obviously disappointing. But we're all putting in work. So, look at it like you always want to be the fastest. So, and I like winning and I don't like losing. Well, I really don't like losing, and I do a lot of it. So it's racing's a funny sport.
Yeah, it's that team mindset meets self, drive to be successful. And I think that's part of the reason why we're all really, really addicted. I'll take a step sideways and have a chat to you, Griff. I mean, big thing for you this year has been obviously teams and shuffling around. Like your last 12 months, you're back to the privateer logo on the side of the car. Chiefs has been on the car. You've been a Lobs driver. We're just talking actually before we started recording this one as well about, defending for Luke Rosella this time last year for a win. But realistically, I think you look at 2025 and the results and you go, you know what? Given what we've been through, I actually kind of would be pretty happy with the results this year.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, honestly, it hasn't been too much of a bad year. I've had 3 podiums, which is, it's a decent return. Obviously, I've had a couple races go begging, had a couple tech dramas, which seems to be a theme of my career, basically. But apart from that, it's been a pretty solid run, especially the last probably 5 or 6 rounds. I've had a really good back half to the season, and this is normally when I do kind of make hay of the year. So yeah, no, it's been better the last half of the season.
And finally, swinging around to you, Zach. I mean, 2025 started off with probably the biggest high and also the lowest of lows at the same time. You were chasing your first podium all the way back at Sebring. I think tonight for you is probably just going to be a walk back through the what could have been, what should have been, and when it does finally happen. But 3rd in the points. And you weren't a V8 supercar driver 18 months ago. So, I don't know. Do you go, okay, maybe there's a few more podiums we should have had, but this is the elements of racing at this level as well. Again, rating level for 2025, because I think for all 3 of you guys, you've got moments where you're like, yeah, really, really proud of this, but also, man, we could have been better.
Yeah, obviously it's very difficult to be fast and up front in this field. You really have to be perfect at everything to make it really click. And I mean, I don't want to be too hard on myself, but at the same time, like, this is my second year in the series. I'm not going to go and try and win the championship straight away. I mean, these guys have got so much experience, have been driving this way before the Pro Series was even a thing. So to be running third is not too bad in my books.
Can I just quickly interject? I wanted to ask real quick, Zach, to you, because your path and your trajectory has been sort of steadily going upwards since you joined the series. But I wanted to ask about Phillip Island, the pole position. Like, how big of a moment for you was that when you got that locked away at Phillip Island?
Yeah, it was a bit like the podium at Jerez. It was kind of just something I wanted to get. I mean, might not be the last one. It might be the last one. Who knows? But yeah, it's just something to tick off and try and get more of them. It's not really a massive like achievement in my books. I mean, it is cool to get the pole position and whatnot, and I only lasted for 100 meters or so before I got past anyway. So yeah, you can think of it that way.
I think it's been rather an interesting year, and having the two of you guys from you, Griff, and you, Zach, in here and working together on setups and everything away from the track. Like, everyone, it's really, really difficult for me because I don't have enough background into how putting these cars together and how putting that sort of stuff together goes, particularly when this is the first year of a new generation of car as well. But there's a lot that goes into things behind the scenes to get a car, to get something that rolls off and it is quick. What's the partnership been like? Because again, Griff, there's a really good opportunity with everything. You've worked with so many different people over the last 18 months in terms of setup building. What's that relationship like between yourself, the Chiefs guys and the Eclipse guys at the moment, and that partnership working behind the scenes to get a race car ready?
Yeah, obviously, not repping anyone at the moment, but lucky enough to still be working with all the same crew. Obviously, James and Dylan from the Chiefs, and Zach and Damon and all the guys at Eclipse as well. And I think we've been very lucky with all the work that Zach's put in. Zach's done a lot of the heavy lifting this year and it's been extremely dedicated. So I think, like last round we had 3 cars that should have probably finished on the podium. It was, all that stuff is down to a lot of the work Zach's done. Just lapping and always making improvements. We've had a good start to the year and we kind of fell back a bit through the early middle, and then we've come on strong again. Phillip Island, the guy's really fast. Obviously Sandown again. So I think it's just been a group effort, but I think, Zach should be really proud of himself with how much effort he's put in for all of us.
Zach, I mean, anything care to respond? Because that's coming from Griff. That's a pretty big statement, mate, in terms of your hard work and everything, and not just in one car either. I think it's worthwhile pointing out this also goes into GT3s. This also goes into dirt sprint cars and stuff that you race as well. You are working on this stuff constantly.
Yeah, I want to keep myself as busy as possible. Keep the race brain firing. As soon as you start kind of slacking a bit, it all kind of snowballs and you go downhill. But I think it kind of stemmed from switching from Vermilion straight at the start of the season. It just really kicked me into gear, kind of thing. It's like when everyone kind of trying to wrap their heads around the Gen 3, it was pretty important to try and get ahead of it before everyone else kind of figured out what the real go was with the car. So yeah, I think we made some good improvements throughout the year, but then like Griff said, we kind of slumped a bit, and yeah, we're trying a couple of things now that are working here and there, but yeah, everyone's improving, so you just got to keep going.
It's a pretty good segue, actually, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the Gen 3 cars, because obviously they're new for us this year here in the series. Keen to get your guys' thoughts about it. I'll go to you first, Ando. What do you generally think about the Gen 3 car this year, now that we've pretty much got a full season under our belts with them? Keen to get your thoughts about how the car is. And I think you guys at TTR particularly probably were a little slow out of the box with the Gen 3 car relative to some of the others, but you guys have found your pace again in the back half of the season. So you've probably had to work really hard during the mid-season to get back up to speed where you guys probably wanted to be.
Yeah, we have. Sorry, my voice is a bit cooked after a relatively happy yesterday. So I remember at Navarra in the official series, Mads did the race and qualified 12th in the soft race, which he thought it was a good lap. So we knew we were a long way out of the window pretty early on when the car came out. And yeah, we've had to put a fair bit of work in. Like even rounds like Red Bull Ring, like I qualified 19th and it felt like it was a really good lap. And obviously it wasn't. Like Red Bull Ring was pretty close in the times. Like I was like 3/10 off. But that's not a very long lap, right? Had a good race pace, came forward to 6th, but like we were on struggle street. Like we really didn't have the pace at all, especially in Q trim. And we've had to just really learn, I think, to be honest, a lot of driver evolution about how to drive the car in the right way to make speed. And it's very easy to sit there and go, oh, the other guys have got better setups than us. But I think a lot of the time what you do as a driver influences how the car reacts, and you kind of, I always use the example of like you lose less grip than the other guy. So I've had to change the way you drive a little bit. Obviously some setup stuff help with that. And I think we've probably had in the last few rounds, I would probably say the second or third best car most of the rounds we've gone to. Sometimes clear second, sometimes probably second and third equal. We haven't had the pace to match fuel cell, but we're working on that. But yeah, like I personally, I enjoy the car. I think it drives. I've driven a V8 supercar for a very short amount of time, and it was one of the older ones. But I felt like it drives more like what a V8 supercar should. Like it feels a lot more responsive over curbs. It flows over curves a lot better for my mind. Like the old car felt quite stiff in weird spots, and I didn't really feel like it felt that great. It's got less downforce. Some could argue the racing's worse, but I overall like the car.
Yeah, that's. I think that what you're saying there kind of reflects pretty much on my thoughts as well. And we have spoken about this on the show at different times throughout the year about the cars. They do drive very differently. I think that they feel a lot more grounded to what you'd expect in comparison to the old car. And then we talked a little bit about probably the unrealistic draft model in the old car and how that probably created better racing, but was probably less realistic to what you'd expect in the real life. And these cars are a lot harder to pass. You're right. They're difficult to race, but to drive, I personally think that they're a lot nicer to drive than the previous gen car and iRacing particularly. Griff, I'll go to you. Sort of same question. What are your thoughts about the car now that we've got almost the full way through a season?
Yeah, I do enjoy the car. I think it's obviously brought. I think if you compare, where the series was at last year and where we're at now, I think it's definitely closed the gap amongst all teams. Like the margins are a lot tighter, and obviously with things in the car, like there's no wing adjustment, the damper controls been minimised a lot more, things like that. The gaps have really narrowed down, and the windows have closed a fair amount. So I think it is, there is a lot of the driver probably means more in this car, but I still think setups are important. And I think the thing that's really been boosted in this car is tyre management, temp management specifically. Obviously, the tyres on iRacing are mainly it's all thermal, so just managing slip and stuff like that, it's become a real technique, and it's not a real surprise with Jared's technique that he's showing. He's the best driver right now. He's got the heel toe and all that sort of stuff. He's maximising his advantage there. So I think it has really shown, who can really focus and try and just get the most out of the driving technique, really. And you do see it time to time, like someone will just outlast 5 cars in front of them on tyres and just drive through them with 5 laps to go on the stint. And obviously Jerez was a big round for that with the skyrocketing track temp. Saw people being able to go like 7 or 8 laps longer on a set of tyres. So yeah, I think it's really I think it's enhanced pretty much every aspect of it. The setups and the tyres and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's good. Zach, we'll go to you last again on the same question before Scott jumps on to the next topic. But what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, when the car first came out, I wasn't a massive fan, but I've driven it so much now, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. I still hate it some days when it doesn't really want to work for you, but yeah, you just got to put up with it. And yeah, like Griff said, it's it does show who the best drivers are, and they will rise to the top, and they will make it work on any given day. They just, yeah, it's a driver's car. I think, regardless of how good your setup is, it will show that you are one of the better drivers if you can make it work.
Yep.
So what I heard was stay in the commentary box and let you guys keep at it. All right, gotcha. Thank you.
No comment.
I mean, I think it's a really, really interesting. Like, there's a lot of points that you guys have covered off there about the car, I think, as well. It's probably taken a lot for you guys to. I think one of the big things of the last couple of rounds is those margins have really narrowed back together, and everyone's sort of starting to trend back in the same direction. Techniques, I think a lot of you guys have actually had to adjust your technique, and it's starting to come together as well. Which leads me to the next topic. This year, the Logitech V8 Pro Invitational Bathurst 1000 comes right at the back end of the endurance racing calendar. And you've had a lot of 1,000-kilometre races now to get your head around the package heading into Bathurst 1000 for Logitech. So, I mean, Griff, confidence level heading into this weekend? Like we said, you were second last year. Is it one step forward this year?
I mean, obviously that's the goal. I've had, got the podium at Sandown and heading in the right direction. Lucky enough to have Forzan as a co-driver, who's obviously everyone knows is very talented, and when he has the time to put in, he can be as good as anyone. So going pretty confident. Obviously around V8 Scopson we had a pretty competitive car. Obviously Zach ended up winning the race. So yeah, I think we do go in pretty confident that, I think a podium is realistic expectation. Obviously, I think it's going to take a bit of a drama for the 94 car not to win the race. But as we saw last year with T-Mac and the car, anything can happen. So I guess we'll see.
Zach, I mean, that's a big point. That's also worthwhile pointing out. I mean, you be coming into this one riding on top of the world, and I think that trend suggests, that's exactly where you're going as well.
Yeah, we'll just try and take it step by step. We won't think about the race too much straight away. Obviously, we want to make a big deal of it and make sure that the car is right and all the co-drivers are set and ready and whatnot. But you got to get through qualifying first, and hopefully you can make it into the shootout and make an impact there and boost yourself up a little bit. Obviously, it's a long race, and it's not the end of the world if you start at the back. I mean, the race that Griff was talking about there, I started last, so you can still do it from the back. Crazy sentence.
1,000 kilometres, 1,000 opportunities, I think is probably the best way to think about it. And Ando, I've got good news for you, mate. There is rain in the offering. I was having a look at forecasts based upon Google forecasts, of course. Remember, the weather forecast for the race is going to be generated a little bit later on in the week, but that's got a 45% chance of rain from midday to 6 p.m. in Bathurst this weekend. That could be right into your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think I feel like as a team we're pretty strong in the rain. It's like look at how Jake Maloney performed in the Scops Sandown 500 last week. So yeah, I love Bathurst. I have always been a bit of a Bathurst hot lap specialist when I was a young pup, but I've kind of got a bit of experience in the races now. Probably haven't had the results in the Logitech Series 1000s that I would have liked. Like I've had a few wins in the Scops 1000, but for just some reasons here or there, it hasn't really happened for me yet in the Logitech Series. But I feel pretty confident. Like I always go to Bathurst and feel pretty confident. It's the best track in the world, right? Like that last stint of the race when you're locked in and you've done 6, 10, 12 hours of practice at that track. It's awesome. It's an amazing feeling. So if it's wet, it's wet. If it's dry, it's dry. We'll just send it and see what happens regardless.
I think that's really, really important as well is there's very few times where I felt on song in the sim compared to you guys. Obviously, you guys are significantly better than I am, but there is no greater feeling than getting into a rhythm mode at Bathurst. It is one of those tracks that once you get into that rhythm and you're in the zone, it is the best feeling in the world of sim racing. All right, finish this segment up. We've got some fun stuff for you guys as well. The good news is we get to get under each and every one of your skin. We've certainly got something lined up to rustle the old cage a little bit. So we're going to do some word association. And Zach, I'm going to start with you, buddy. Right, so what I want is I'm going to say a couple words here. Every single time I want, the first word that pops into your brain, first thing that comes out, right? So that's quick fun, have some fun with it. And we want to get to know a little bit more about our pro drivers. So first word for you, nice easy one, Bathurst.
Shootout.
Logitech.
Pro Series.
Underdog.
Griffin Gardner.
Wow, throwing shade early.
I rate you, Griffin. I think you're good, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Andy.
Yeah, it's all good, mate.
Okay, good, because I'm about to serve you one back up. Headlights.
Thomas McMillan.
There's no one else that creeps into the back end of your brain at all?
No.
You sure? No one that flashed you in a GT race at any point recently? No,
Nah.
that never happened.
I'm
Good,
talking
good
about
to know.
headlights. No. That never happened. I don't know what you're on about.
Finally, rival.
Damon Woods.
Ooh, into team battling. I like it. I like it. Well, Griff, you've been thrown under the bus, so let's double down on that. You're up next.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, cheers, mate.
Good, because I can quote that during the middle of the race. Zach Rattray White told me to call Griffin underdog. That's what we're going to call him all weekend. Skyline.
Amazing.
Favorite food.
Samberos.
Ooh. Playoffs.
Good.
Rainmaster.
Not me.
Co-driver.
Not a chance. Important.
Interesting heading into things. You already talked about how Forsen's going to be critical to your race, and I think that sets you up really, really nicely. Last opportunity, you want to throw Zach under the bus? Like,
I mean, I'll do the good teammate thing and just be nice to him. I'm not like that guy.
Oh, you and Burst handed in the winner's scop, so you already did the nice thing.
Well, that's right.
Good to see the rivalries are already kicking off, and we're not even getting close to the mountain this weekend. All right, finally, Ando, the chase.
Shithouse.
Fuel saver.
Enjoyable.
Data.
Pardon, data.
Yep.
Love it.
Toyota 86.
Challenging.
And this one, we'll get your thoughts on a particular driver. Jared Filsell.
I respect his abilities as a driver.
That is about the most PC answer. You had to think about that one to come up with something that you wanted to say. I love it.
Very diplomatic. That's good. All right. That wraps up here for you guys. Thank you to all three of you for coming in and sitting with us here on the show this week. It's been awesome fun. I've really enjoyed it. I think you probably have too, Scott. I hope you guys had fun. We will be back after the next little bit of the show with a few more people from the V8 Pro Series to talk about Bathurst. But before we get to that, we need to go and induct yet another person into the ASRG Hall of Fame.
Well, Simon's a pioneer, and so everything that has come now in the Australian sim racing community, particularly with the V8s, has to an extent come off the back of Simon's back.
So I've known Simon for 12 years now, and straight away he's been a pioneer with the introduction of young drivers into the sim racing scene in Australia, particularly on iRacing.
My impression of him was just he's always a professional.
My first impressions of Simon Black go way back to about 2020 when I first started doing ASRG dev.
But Simon himself is a very, very capable rally driver on the sim, has done some fantastic things, But here in Australia, he's probably better known for running the OSR.
For me, what I sort of most associate with him is the OSR community. For me, that was back in my first few seasons as a supercar driver, was racing the OSR Dev Series.
You know, with the Dev Series and OSR at the very start, he was able to identify league racing and everything, all the league racing and everything that's come from it since then has really started with Simon. He was the visionary and the pioneer right at the very start.
And that series was really the foundation that set everybody up to go and do other leagues, go and do other things.
Don't forget, this is a guy who doesn't actually race. So there's nothing in it for him to have done what he's done.
He just devotes himself selflessly and is willing to, you know, take on feedback and just remain professional at all times.
Not just hosting, but now within the Pro Series, you know, he's also assists race director, and he gives such good information, and he's so knowledgeable, and he's someone that you can fall back on and trust.
Simon is so level-headed, so cool, so calm, so collective.
Simon has been persistent with the OSR over the many years that he's been doing it.
Committed, loyal, groundbreaking.
Godfather. That would be the legacy.
He's also just a good guy. So if you've ever had the opportunity to just sit and chat to Simon, and you know, just his life story and how he conducts himself and how he remains calm, I think that he will go down as probably one of the most respected people in the Australian NZ community.
He's the quiet guy in the background. Like, you know, OSR was such a significant package. And I said, you know, hats off to Mike Korolev as well. Like, between the two of them, Simon and Mike worked so well together in what they introduced. And, you know, with the Dev Series, they drew people in, and those people still race today. So, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that Australian sim racing owes Simon Black.
A huge thank you to ASRG for this award. Thank you very much as well to everybody that's been part of my sim racing experience along the way. It's always enjoyed with others, so yep, thank you for everyone in taking part and then enjoying the journey with me.
Welcome back, everybody, and we've got some more legends in here to talk about the Logitech GTPRO Series. We're going to probably focus a little bit more on Bathurst in this segment, and we're joined by Adam Briggs, we've got Bo Albert and Luke Rosella here with us now, and guys, welcome in. Thanks for jumping in with us here on the Paddock podcast, and yeah, we should talk a little bit about Bathurst, but before we open it up to everyone, we really need to go to you first, Luke, defending champion. So tell us, what are your expectations for this year? What's your preparation looking like?
Pretty much the same it's been for the last 3 years. You know, it's the biggest race of the year, so you naturally put the most prep into it. And yeah, we've just been working through different sort of stuff for the setup as we do every track. And I think, what is it? A few days leading into it, I think I got a pretty good idea of what we're gonna run for it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And being a defending champion is it's a little bit of a weird feeling, but it's very, very cool.
You probably can't speak on behalf of Thomas, but obviously polar opposite results for you guys last year. So how do you guys think that you're going to stack up? How are you feeling about going into this year? You guys pairing up together?
It's interesting for me because I've never had the same co-driver, for the next year. I've always had a different co-driver every year. So, but no, Thomas has been really, really fast. Especially at Phillip Island, he was, matching me and, keeping up with even some of the top end main guys. So yeah, he's been really, really good. Had a bit of a niggle post race at Phillip Island. Forgot to upload telemetry, which gave us a rear grid for Sandown. But no, he's been really good, especially now at Bathurst. Bathurst prep, he's been really, really good, and he's been really motivated, which is the main thing. He's had a few doubters this year about how he was going to go, but I think he's proven some of them wrong. But of course, he's got, always got room for improvement. So yeah, I'm excited to race with him.
Yeah, well, eyes will be on. Obviously, you guys at Lobs overall are just flying at the minute. The team to beat. So there'll be expectations for you to come back and defend. And I think Thomas has been fast, like you said. So I think you guys will be in good stead. I'm interested to see how you stack up against everybody else on Sunday. Bo, I'll turn attention to you. Same sort of question, really, about your preparation or your expectations for Bathurst this week. You've obviously had a challenging year throughout, but overall, the underlying thing for me has been your pace has been really, really good. So for you, what do you feel coming into the biggest race of the year this weekend?
Look, it's hard to know what to predict because there's just that many factors that come into it. Even the last two endurance races, I thought we had a fairly good idea on what was going to happen, and we got thrown curveballs both times. So you never know. You can only prepare as best you can. But look, with Rayner, I think it's probably the quickest pairing I've had for one of these races so far. So feeling good. Just got to get the car dialed in. Honestly, we don't know what the conditions are going to be. There's, it could be bloody hot, to be quite honest with you. So trying to keep the rear tires on, it's going to be tricky. And yeah, we're just trying to think of every situation right now to prepare for. But, come race day, there'll always be something to trip us up. So we're feeling good, but there's a lot of work still to do.
Yeah, awesome. I'll go to you as well, Briggsy, before Scott, you can jump in and pick up the next topic. But obviously we're teammates, Briggsy, so I know a little bit about what's going on, but tell everybody at home, what do you think your expectations are for Bathurst this weekend?
Hopefully it's better than the last two Enduros that I've been through. So, I think we had a pretty good season leading up until, say, Phillip Island, and it's really no fault of ours, if I'm to be honest. Had a little bit of a glitch with a tyre that didn't want to change, which is a known iRacing glitch that hasn't really been resolved in quite a number of years. And then we had an engine pop at Sandown. So, we reviewed the data pretty thoroughly. We went back, 10, 20 laps. We didn't really buzz it, so we don't really know what happened there. We'll put in the same effort we've put into the last two Enduros, or really all season, is just trying to dial in a setup that we're comfortable in. This car's maybe a little bit more vague than the previous car in terms of telling you what it wants. So it's a bit more tricky to find the right mark. And the field spread is seemingly so damn close. I think it's much closer than Gen 2. So every little gain that you can makes a much, every 10th essentially is much more than it was last year. And I think that's a credit to everyone involved. And it actually makes the sort of achievement that, say, Bo's made from the front half of the season to the back half of the season very, very remarkable. In terms of what we're doing, we're just putting our best foot forward. I'm on the bubble, I'm 21st or whatever people want to call it. And I've just got to process it like any other race. Hewan's done laps. He's already done the majors, Bathurst 1000 or whatever it was in preparation. So Hewan's done the hard miles already. He's probably done more miles than me in that respect. I didn't get to do, say, a competitor's 1000 because I was away karting. But we're just ticking off ideas with the setup, trying to see if we can crack the nut. So yeah.
I think one of the bigger things is heading into this one. I think this is going to be a race where probably strategy is quite important. 120 litre fuel tank. It's not quite all the way out to the full 133 litres, matching obviously what the real world cars were looking at. strategy wise, this is one of those ones. Sandown, it was sort of pretty bog standard. Phillip Island had one lap that was very, very critical, and that you guys could go, what's the sense? Is it going to be co-driver start, double of the main? You know, is it going to be main drive? Obviously for you, Luke, it's going to be completely different because you know that you're coming from the rear of the field. Are you going to start that race, go, I'm going to go grab 20 spots and then off to T-Mac and let him do his job? Or
I think it's pretty flexible for us. I think it depends on the different pairings. If you have like an AA combination where you've got little to no pace differential between the two drivers, you're really, really flexible. Like you can even make your co-driver finish the race. So I think it doesn't really matter who starts in our car. I'm pretty confident, in Thomas starting and making his way through the field. He did it really, really well at Phillip Island, especially. So yeah, I think it doesn't really matter. I think we'll probably decide about 2 minutes before the gridding starts, I reckon.
The benefit is you don't have to do qualifying, so you can spend Saturday night studying and doing strategy or just going to bed and sleeping in.
Might go to the pub. I've been hungover for I think a couple Bathurst 1000s across Piss and Scop, especially with Veldy. You can ask him that. So yeah, so I might as well make it tradition.
Briggsy, I mean, I'll go to you. I think this is probably a really, really interesting one. I've had a look at a couple of weather forecasts already, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier on. But rain is in the offering, I think, this year. Who's better in the rain? Is it you? Is it Ewan? And Bo, I'll get to you in a minute because I can see you smirking there. Is that a Bathurst session you've actually got in the background?
It
on
is,
your webcam.
yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, okay. So he's already doing his practice. So, Briggsy?
Show us the lap times.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. I literally
the camera's not working. Sorry, boys.
I literally just came out of a session to jump in and talk to you guys. So, and I think that would probably be true for most of us, I think. Rain, look, to be honest, every single time someone has said the word rain, we think it's this much and we get this much. Or even that much, like Woggy's saying. So Luke is saying, sorry. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm going to plan for a normal race because Road America, I built a full wet setup for Road America, put it on the car because the forecast said yes, rain, and we got an insignificant amount of weather. And my favorite track, I love Road America. It's my favorite track. I normally do the best at Road America. And I actually ruined my chances at my favorite track by changing to the whims of forecast. So I think for me, I'm just going to put our best foot forward on a track, on a dry track. And I think we can deal with it with bars and other ways when it comes to rain. I think the V8 has a lot of driving style to it in the rain as well, how you use the clutch, how you downshift, how you brake, that sort of thing. So it's a lot of driver stuff, to be honest. So, yeah, I think we're just going to plow on with a dry car, if I'm to be honest, because we've tried to appease the forecast and it turned out poorly in the past. So yeah.
Right. So with that in mind, Adam Briggs has just absolutely made sure that everyone sits full wet. You two guys are going to throw full wet in now because whatever Briggsy says the weather's going to do, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah, 100%. Whatever I say, it's going to be the opposite.
Apparently, I'm going to be driving Apparently, I'll be driving a dry car in the rain on Sunday. How good!
So Hobbo's just doxed himself as doing zero setup work. There you go.
That's good. That's good. Yep.
Hobbo, how much is the arrive and drive package over at Synergy?
Oh, that's all it is. That's all it is in my car. But I mean, onto you, Bo. Rain. We're going to talk about rain at some point because I think it's remiss of us to talk about Bathurst this year and not talk about rain because some of the best races have had the rain. But it is a touchy subject. I mean, okay, that session that's on in the background. I'm not going to ask you to tell us what
it's set up to be, but is there bits of precipitation falling within the sim in the background at the moment?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you guys,
Yeah,
that is one section.
looks dry to me.
One session is prepped for dry. We're not going to say that is Bo's entire week worth of practice, but how much is that factoring into your preparation this week?
Look, I mean, with the rain, I'll believe it when I see it, to be honest. But you've got to practice it. So I have done laps in the wet already. I don't do a huge amount of setup work in the rain, to be honest, just because I'd rather see the forecast. And if it is going to be dry at the end, I'd still rather have a dry package and just suffer through the rain and make it work. Like I'd rather sort of tackle it that way. But yeah, we need to wait for the forecast, see what it says. And if there is rain, then yeah, we'll start preparing for rain. But too many times this season, I've pretty much almost fallen into the same trick because, Briggsy has. So Road America, I did a bucket load of wet practice. Nothing came of it. I even sort of sabotaged myself in the race because in the final 10 laps of that race, there was a risk of rain. I thought, I'll extend my middle stint, see if I can, maybe catch it. That was a waste of time. I just got undercut. And then Sandown, massive rain forecasted, and I think we got 7 laps with maybe a little bit of rain, and I don't think a single driver on the grid even considered going to a wet. So believe it when I see it, but you've got to prepare for it, because if you don't prepare for it in a series as competitive as this, if it does rain and a bucket's down, you're screwed. It's that simple, and it's a harsh word, but yeah, you're screwed. You will fall to the back, you will be in the wall, you'll be out of the race. So you've got to practice for it, but it's not, at least at ERT, it's not our primary concern.
I think heading into the week of Bathurst and things as well, this is that one race of the year that everyone looks forward to. And it's just un-Australian not to. So if there's anyone out there that's not a Bathurst fan, it's been nice knowing you. I will now remove you as my friend and we'll see you. But I think one of the bigger things that comes along with a big moment like this is on-grid jitters. And I mean, for you, Luke, like you said, you're coming in with a rear grid penalty, but as last year's champion, does that... I mean, at one side of the table, you're starting from the rear, so kind of all the pressure's off. But at the same time, you want to do as well as you did last year.
Yeah, it's quite good being on the couch during qualifying. You don't get all that pressure, but well, I mean, the aim for every race is to win, right? So we'll approach it like any other race. We were pretty really, really close to a podium at Sandown. From starting from the back, which was even more frustrating because we were arguably the fastest car on the track in the last stint. So we'll just approach it like any other race. It's double the distance of Sandown and Phillip Island. So really, it's double the opportunity to battle to the front.
Bo, how about you? I mean, this is sorry. Yeah, go ahead. You had something there, Hobo?
No, I was just going to double down on the same thing because I find the psychology around the jitters and the nerves interesting with sim racing because some people have different opinions on it. So I was keen to ask the guys here what their thoughts on it were. Like, maybe you first, Bo, do you get nervous on the grid for sim races? And is Bathurst worse than others if you do? Or are you pretty calm and it doesn't really affect you too much?
I feel like for the race, I'm actually weirdly not too bad, especially if I start the race, I'm okay. If I have a co-driver start and I'm, we're getting, 2 laps to the end of the stint and I know I'm about to jump in, that's when I'm nervous. Races, I don't think I'm too bad these days with jitters, but that said, qualifying, I can end up a bit of a mess, especially on shootout laps. That's where I struggle. Especially if, you've got, now the first few sectors, especially here at Bathurst, that run down Conrod Straight, and you've got a good lap going, that's when I'm struggling. But no, race start's actually not too bad for me, surprisingly.
I'll extend that question to you, Briggsy, as well while we're talking about it. Like, where do you stand on all that?
I actually probably get more nervous for sim racing than I do karting, to be honest. I don't really know why. Maybe I really don't know why, to be honest. But yeah, I cop it. I think it's good though because you can temper yourself because there's a weird sort of draw of focus if there's a nervous energy, to be honest, and you can use that. So I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing.
Interesting. And just we already talked to you a little bit, Luke, but just circling back on this specifically, where you sit with this on the spectrum of nerves and jitters for Bathurst particularly, but just in the sim overall.
I mean, my opinion is if you're not feeling nervous before a race, a competitive race, I don't think you should be in it. I'm not saying, Bo, you should retire because everyone has different opinions on it. Everyone has different opinions on it.
I've been around for a while, mate, but damn.
I get nervous every time. It could be even just an official race in a Mazda or in a bloody F4, whatever. I get nervous every time. So, yeah, I think it shows that you're, in my opinion, that shows that you still have the fight and the focus for it. And like Briggsy said, I think in nervous situations you tend to focus a lot more. So, I think it's a good thing for me.
Yeah, I find it fascinating, Scott, just the psychology around sim racing. Everyone, that's the reason why I like this particular question is I do feel like it's one that gives a very different answer to everybody. Everyone has their own interpretation of it, and I find that just really fascinating.
Yep, I agree. Surprisingly, after years and years and years of motocross, never got nervous at motocross. Walking out to bat cricket, that's where my nerves hit. Just because you're just so fired up, you want to see that first ball come in and off the middle of the bat. So that's where I get my nerves. But anyway, I think a bigger piece about Bathurst as well is it's not just the track. It's not just all 6.2Ks. It's qualifying. It's the shootout. It's all of these bits and pieces. And there's a lot of work that goes into this, particularly being a GT Pro week. Also the co-driver clash. There's a lot more to manage on a Logitech V8 Pro Series Bathurst week. Come 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, you're fatigued. Because it's the biggest week of the year. You put the most work in, managing fatigue there's nutrition, that's bits and pieces, obviously a few more nuts and bananas and those sorts of things to try and get you to work through the week as well. I mean, what's the secret for you guys? I mean, Luke, you're coming off the back again, we'll circle back to winning it last year, but fatigue management is such a critical part about that.
Yeah, you do a lot of prep, as you said. I don't want to boast myself, but I'm pretty reasonably strict on my diet, just in everyday life anyway. I'm say I'm reasonably in good shape even come 5 o'clock. But yeah, I mean, just putting the whole day in a perspective. It's a long day, even without. When you're not in the car, you're not driving, you're focusing on making sure your co-driver's all right with spotting and everything, and even discussing strategy. So it's a massive day, and it's really important to keep yourself fit for that last stint, which is the most important.
I mean, again, Bo, across to you. I mean, it's one of those things, and one of the things I actually didn't mention to Luke, I think, is the additional rules bits and pieces. There is a limitation on the maximum amount of driving laps that you can actually do for the enduros consecutively. There's limitations, making sure you tick all those little boxes that actually aren't relevant to the sprint rounds as well. That factors into this, and also means that you've got to do additional prep work to go, okay, well, if we pick here, the strategy will do this, come in with a little bit more of a plan. Again, just more factors to go into it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I use a spreadsheet for pretty much all my strategy calculations and everything. So I don't use like an external program. I actually use like an old school sort of spreadsheet. And yeah, for Bathurst, I've got 20 additional pages pretty much. Like that's an exaggeration, but there's a lot more pages of, strategy A, strategy B. If X happens, what do I do? Like there's a lot more of that, which, adds to the preparation time. Like, I've got a day off work today, so I've had it fairly cruisy. And of probably the 8 hours I've been on the computer today, 3 hours of that was on spreadsheets, just trying to build something, for the race. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into it that I think a lot of people don't see, especially on the broadcast, is just how much goes into it. How much we're analyzing data as well, like in setups and everything. It is tough. And, you mentioned as well on the physical side of things, I know for me, I struggle a lot at the end of these endurance races. I've been sim racing since 2013. I've been doing it for a long time. My wrists end up really, really sore. So already, as of last week, I'm already trying to do management on my wrists, making sure, come Sunday morning, I've still got strength in my wrists to do 161 laps at Bathurst. So yeah, there's actually a lot more that goes into it than I think a lot of people realize. And yeah, physical demands, mental demands, it takes a toll on you. And yeah, better believe I'll be sleeping well on Sunday night.
Mate, I'm going to quote you on that one because it doesn't help when some idiot goes straight on at the chase in GT4 earlier on in the year and smacks into you.
No, no, it doesn't.
For those of you who don't know, yeah, I might have injured Bo's wrists all the way back in February this year. Might have happened. May have been me at the wheel at the time. Unconfirmed. But I mean, Briggsy, you've just come off 6 hours in a go-kart, or sorry, 6 shared hours, I guess, in a go-kart and an endurance race as well, and major success in that. Do you want to go grab the trophy now? Do we do that later? No. Okay, you don't want to show that on the stream? Okay, all right. We're going across the weekend, don't you worry. But, come on,
Briggsy.
There's life in that as well. That's got to come in, and, taking additional passions around things, I think is really important as well.
Sorry, what was your question?
How do you prepare for the week? How do you manage the fatigue, particularly given the weekend that you've just had as well?
I guess I am privileged that outside of sim racing, I have the ability through my past and present to do karting, and there's some remarkable people that make that happen for me. It's not a particularly high level. It's endurance karting. Which is essentially grassroots. But they do 6 hours, 12 hours, 24-hour races. There's actually a 24-hour race this coming weekend that I had double booked myself to do, which I've had to pull out of to do this. And it's the first time ever I've had a real life clash with a sim clash, and I've chosen sim over real life. But the fatigue side of things, I think you've just got to, for my mind, in the races that I've done, it's about choices. It's about having a clarity of mind to make choices. If you've got uncomfortable wrists, sorry to pick on Bo, but
going on
if I gave you a G up, now it's the other way around this time. So, but no, if you've got something that's upsetting you, wrists, for me it's ankles, right? So if it's wrists, if it's ankles, if it's something along that line, you've got to actually be in front of it, because if you're in an area of discomfort, you will make a bad judgment call, and it's just that simple. It really is.
Very interesting. I think it's really interesting, Scott. Like, the people probably don't think about sim racing in such a physical sense, and like I said before, I find the mental element to it really interesting about, nerves and controlling your emotions in that sense. But there is also that physical element to what we do in the sim as well. And it's not just sitting down and playing a computer game all day. It is a lot more involved than that. And a lot of people don't really, I don't think, understand, particularly when we talk about races like Bathurst with all those elements. It's a big week of build-up. There's lots of things going on. You've got qualifying the night before, then you've got a massive 161-lap race. It is very tiring in all those elements, mentally and physically.
I think it's really, really important, though. There's a lot of elements there from the psychology. I have a lot of passion in the really, really nerdy elements of the universe, particularly Magic the Gathering. And there was at one point I was actually doing some psychological training to prepare myself for some big tournaments, which I never ended up going ahead, but I love reading the articles from. And one of the things they talk about is you're on a 10-hour day. You cannot be making the best decisions at the back end of hour 10 if you pushed yourself at hour 1, hour 2. It's about survival and giving yourself the capacity to make the right decisions at the right time. That means you may have made a mistake earlier on because you're making sure you gave yourself the room to do that earlier on. And I think is really, really interesting that a lot of these guys, like everyone sort of references it, which is, I think, really, really interesting. It's about, number one, preparation. Number two, making sure that you've thought ahead. When that decision comes, it's not just a decision, it's just a light switch. If A, then A. If B, then B. Sweet, no problem. That decision's already been done. I think that's pretty much what everyone's talking about. And the other thing I was going to say is, hey, Luke, remember what these guys are saying now, mate. You got all this to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm just taking notes,
Well, Well, do you know a good physiotherapist? Do you want to get him? Do you want to get Luke on his books now? Or
Yeah, I'll slide a DM over later. Sure.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers. Book an appointment for Monday.
Yeah. All right, so let's, like we have done with the previous segments on the show, let's end with a little bit of fun, Scott. I think we changed the pace up a little bit here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to do some quick fire questions for you guys. So I'm going to give you a few questions each and we'll go through. I just want you to give us your immediate answers, your first response answers to these. So we're talking about Bathurst, remember, for this. So if you get yeah, that's right. That's the plan. Let's get you guys under the bus. All right, I'll start with you, Luke. Let's go to you first. So tell me your favourite Bathurst memory.
Oh, winning last year.
Pretty obvious, right? Yeah, exactly. Dream co-driver?
Brady Kostecki.
Ah, sorry, Thomas. And the best corner on the track?
What's the one after middle grade?
The one after middle grade. Are you getting to McPhillamy?
Yeah, it's McPhillamy, yeah.
Reed Park is before, McPhillamy's after, that's right.
Yep.
Awesome.
That one.
There you go. Goes for the obvious one, the one he doesn't know the name of at Bathurst of all tracks.
I wish you had a mental like.
That's great. All right, Bo, going to you next. So, give me your favourite livery from Bathurst.
Well, I think it's probably a bit of a giveaway with what I'm running this year. It's got to be the old 888 Better Electrical cars. I thought they were a gorgeous looking car.
Yeah, and it's a nice recreation too on the sim. You guys are doing awesome. Will you be running that at Bathurst this week?
It'll return.
There we go. Nice. Tell me, in your opinion, what's the best Bathurst victory?
Best Bathurst victory is a tricky one. Honestly, I would probably go Craig Lowndes with Stephen Richards. It was just such an upset. And I know obviously it wasn't won in the most, crazy circumstance or anything, but they didn't look like a favourite all race and they pulled it off at the end.
Yeah, good call. Good call. And last one, your favourite car from the history of Bathurst?
Again, it's probably a weird one. It's probably going to be a bit of a weird one again, but I'm happy to stick with it. I would probably go the FG Falcon, to be honest. I just love the look of that car. Yeah, I didn't have the best success here at Mount Panorama, but I loved it.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, Briggsy, you're up. Tell me, who's your favourite driver from Bathurst?
Favourite driver? When I was growing up, I was a massive fan of Dick Johnson. Absolutely huge. The Shell cars, they looked great. They quite often showed up at my local Ford dealership. So, that sort of fan engagement was just amazing for a young kid. There's a photo of me standing in front of, I think it was like a EB or something, the show car that gets featured on quite a few sleuth articles for being illegal. But before the rule book was properly written, don't sue me.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It's quite well known. Go read the sleuth articles about it. But I'm fairly certain I was pictured in front of that as a kid with one of those dorky hats that had the flap on the back, and I had missing teeth. And
I've seen that photo.
You have. Woggy, Luke, you have seen that photo, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was a massive Dick Johnson fan.
All right, fair enough. Pretty good answer there. All right, the biggest Bathurst accident.
Oh, the Fabian Coulthard rollover at the Chase, where the tyre popped out and he was a passenger and had no control, and bits were disintegrating left, right, and centre. Yeah, I don't know how he didn't get concussion out of that, to be honest. But yeah, that's probably the one that sticks in my mind immediately.
Yeah, it's a good one. I really enjoyed your reenactment, Luke. That was good.
Good.
And also give me, Briggsy, what you think has been the best Bathurst race.
I'm actually going to say Chaz Mostert, Paul Morris, I think it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, yeah.
They started near last or last. The track broke up. It was pure theatre. Pure. And I as a young bloke, I raced and got thoroughly beaten by Chaz, as a lot of people did in karting circles. And for me, it was a great thing to see personally. So that race had everything for me.
It was a good one. It was if I was to answer that question myself, I would have also said 2014. I think it was the best race in the history of Bathurst. So, all right, that wraps it up, guys. That's it. Really appreciate you guys all coming in and having a chat with us here on the show this week. And best of luck to all you guys on the weekend. We're going to take a quick short break right here. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show, Scott.
We are gaming fanatics. Our goal has never been to just play games. We think it's much better to feel like you're actually in the game. This feeling is what drives us as we create world-class gaming chairs. Our one aim, give you a brand new gaming experience. Help you move in perfect sync with everything on screen. Make sure you're having a ton of fun. It took us decades to achieve this, and we're still not satisfied. Every day, we wake up to get better. We'll never stop designing the very best to help you be your best. When it's all said and done, our job's only done if you're in full flow and focused on your victory. May you win, and win big.
All right, well, that winds us down towards the end of this show, but before we go our separate ways and end it here, Scott, I wanted to take a couple of minutes just to talk to you about the Hall of Fame, because I think it's been a pretty incredible thing this year that we've managed to put together these Hall of Fame inductions. I think it's a nice initiative, but I haven't really had a chance to talk to you about it, get your thoughts. Obviously, 3 very worthy inductees here in our inaugural year, but tell me what you think about it. What are your thoughts about having the Australian Sim Racing Group Hall of Fame?
I think one of the biggest things, and part of the interviews that you've actually got of me there includes, I think one of the big things is actually, I think this needed to be done. We have so many people, and this comes from a place, by the way, of my family's been involved in motocross for 25 plus years now, and we have life memberships to clubs for that very reason, because we're running for me, this is our version of a life membership. This is the best that we can possibly offer, a Hall of Fame entry. What it means is these are people that have contributed so significantly to the community. Everyone is aware that these guys deserve something. Mads and for Mads, it's, yes, he's been successful, but what else has he done for us? You know, he's so approachable. He's so easy to talk to about sim racing. If you've got questions about how to drive a car, Mads is approachable at any time of the day. I have such a really good, close relationship with Jay Kennedy. He's one of my best friends. And I can talk to him about anything at any time. But what that guy does behind the scenes, you guys will never really have an appreciation for. I wanted a telestrator. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to work in the past 13 years of commentating. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Jay Kennedy made it happen. He goes in, he puts effort behind the scenes to research to make those sorts of things happen. Simon Black, I'm actually not privileged enough to have done a lot of work with Simon Black, but again, every single time you talk to anyone, glowing reviews of Simon Black and everything that he's done for esports, for car racing, for sim racing, for the industry as a whole. There are 3 worthy recipients here tonight. Even if you don't know who you are, you have heard of all 3 of them.
Absolutely. I think for me, one of the big things is probably, in the case of Madison, obviously he's a driver, there's trophies, there's awards, there's things out there for him that he can get and is recognised for. But when you look at Jay and you look at Simon, there's a certain amount of behind the scenes nature to what they do. Like the general public or the people watching along and viewing the broadcast don't necessarily know these guys, but everybody who's involved with it knows exactly how much these guys do. They're sort of integral to the way that everything that we do works. You know, without those guys, what we do here in sim racing can't happen. And for me, there's just no public recognition for the time and effort that they put in. I mean, everything that they do is behind the scenes, and you know, they don't get trophies and they don't get awards for what they do. And you know, I think it's very important that we include drivers like Madison as well, because they need to be recognised also for their commitment to what they have achieved over many years. But for me, the Hall of Fame represents the opportunity for those other people that can't go and win a trophy on the track, but they really need to be recognised in some capacity. And I think for me, the thing that stands apart when I look at the 3 inductees for this year is really how they conduct themselves. I think as general people, they're just great people and very, very worthy inductees in their own right. All have done completely different paths to where they are today. They're completely different, but all worthy in their own right. And yeah, I'm just really thrilled that we're able to put something together for these guys, a place to recognise, you know, the people that have achieved so much in our community. So yeah, I hope that everyone else agrees. I hope people that, you know, also see what we're trying to do here and think that it's worthwhile. And yeah, I just think it's really cool. I look forward to doing this again in the future. And we've got a long list of people that really are eligible for this type of, you know, recognition, I think. So to more years to come, I'm looking forward to it. And I guess that's really all that we need to cover off on this particular show. It's been awesome. I've had a lot of fun. It's been really cool to catch up with everybody. Obviously, a massive thank you to you, Scott, for coming in and sitting in here with me and having some fun with everybody. It's been a great show. Big thank you to all the drivers who came and were represented here tonight as well. Appreciate all them taking some of their time to come and talk to us. This is the Paddock podcast. Obviously, we're video format here, but we are normally audio. So the next episode, we'll be back to the audio format. If you guys want to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the next episode will be huge because we'll be talking about everything from this week, the biggest week of the year for both of our series. Obviously, we'll have the co-driver clash and the Bathurst 1000 to talk about on the Logitech G V8 Pro side of things, but also the season finale for the inaugural season of the Gamesmen GTPRO Invitational. So heaps to cover on our next audio version of the show, which will be up well, some point just after this weekend. I imagine we'll be recording pretty soon after, so make sure you go check that out over on the different podcast platforms, or you can find both the shows on the websites for each series. It's v8proseries.com.au or gtproseries.com.au. You can catch the podcast over there. But make sure you also check out those websites for all the latest news and everything you need to know about the series going forward. But thanks so much to everybody who's been watching. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hi guys, Lockie Dalton here from Tickford Racing. We're in our wildcard Gen 3 car. Something really cool, what we've got here is our MPI sim wheel. So configured with our Logitech button box. As you can see, it is identical to our Gen 3 wheel. Really cool for the sim world and the supercar world as well. Can't wait to get home and use this. As you can see, you can nearly configure this exactly the same as we would have our supercars. So exact same material. Something I'm really keen for.